on the Supreme Court. And he says no, it's a lifetime appointment. He's not going to attempt to change that at all. Still don't have reaction from the vice president, former vice president, excuse me, or his campaign. We heard from Senator Kamala Harris, but still waiting to see what Joe Biden has to say about this. And remember, this was a top priority of President Trump's. Remember, just a couple weeks ago, he said he wants to wait for a new COVID relief bill. This is his main priority. Hey, Senate, let's confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett first. He said he'll get reelected, then he'll worry about the COVID relief bill, or the next phase, rather. You remember the markets kind of tanked at that news. But the president really touting this as a victory just 7 days before the election. And we'll see if it brings out voters who may not have voted otherwise, or switch their vote maybe because of this news. Obviously, a lot of Republicans and conservatives vote according to the judiciary. The president has really shaped and molded the federal bench in his image and that conservative ideological stripe since he took office just 3.5 years ago. And we have another view. I'm going to take that for you right now. It's just a closer up version of the podium here, angle rather. And we have a campaign statement from the Trump campaign on this Senate confirmation. I want to bring that over for you right now. And I have that tweet up for you right now. Let's read it out loud. Justice Amy Coney Barrett is a reminder to millions of Americans why they voted for President Trump in the first place. She is now the third solid conservative justice appointed to the Supreme Court by the president, and she will apply the Constitution and not turn the court into a super legislature. Her nomination and confirmation exposed the radical leftist plan to pack the court by expanding its size, and also put Joe Biden on the spot. He must now come clean with the American people, reveal his list of prospective justices, explain his position on court packing, and stop telling voters that they don't deserve to know what he thinks. And a lot of references there, you'll remember, to a lot of Biden's statements. He was quoted in a local news interview as saying he'll tell voters what he thinks of court packing after the election takes place. That was from Jenna Ellis, the Trump 2020 legal advisor. And like I just said before, Joe Biden said today he's not a big fan of court packing. He said if elected, he might establish a commission on studying it with legal scholars, constitutional scholars. And remember, Joe Biden has not listed, or released a list rather, of who he would nominate to the Supreme Court if any vacancies came about if he was elected. So we really have not seen a list of names from the Biden campaign at all. You'll remember the Trump campaign did come out with prospective names if the president is elected, if any other vacancies arrive, if he were to win a second term. Among those on the list were Senators Josh Hawley, Senators Ted Cruz, Senators Mike Lee. So President Trump definitely had a list of people in mind. And we're just going to keep it there for a minute, and I'm going to change this screen, and there are the honor guards right there. And let's take this full for you. And there's Melania Trump, the First Lady, with Judge Amy Coney Barrett's husband. Applause in the crowd there. That's Jesse Barrett, her husband. He also served on the federal bench too, as not as a judge, but as a prosecutor. And here we have most likely President Trump and soon-to-be Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And distinguished guests and my fellow citizens. This is a momentous day for America, for the United States Constitution, and for the fair and impartial rule of law. The Constitution is the ultimate defense of American liberty. The faithful application of the law is the cornerstone of our republic. That is why, as president, I have no more solemn obligation and no greater honor than to appoint Supreme Court justices. On this October evening, and it is so beautiful, the First Lady and I welcome you to the White House to bear witness to history. In a few moments, we will proudly swear in the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She is one of our nation's most brilliant legal scholars, and she will make an outstanding justice on the highest court in our land. Justice Barrett's oath will be administered by the court's longest-serving member, currently on the bench, a man whose allegiance to the law has earned him the respect and gratitude of all Americans, Justice Clarence Thomas. Our country owes a great debt of thanks to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. We appreciate it very much, Mitch. Thank you. And we are grateful as well to the Senate Judiciary Chairman, Lindsey Graham. Thank you, Lindsey. Also with us, Senators Marsha Blackburn, Mike Braun, Bill Cassidy, Kevin Cramer, Ted Cruz, Steve Daines, Ron Johnson, James Lankford, Mike Lee, and Martha McSally. And I hope I didn't leave anybody out. And a very special thanks to our great Vice President, Mike Pence. Thank you, Mike. Also, I want to thank White House counsel Pat Cipollone. Thank you, Pat. And very importantly, I want to welcome Justice Barrett's husband, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Let me also recognize your 7 children, your great, beautiful children who have become really very, very popular in this nation. People have been watching them and loving them, and they're watching right now back home in Indiana. Thank you very much. But I speak to everyone when I say that the Barrett family has captured America's heart. It is highly fitting that Justice Barrett fills the seat of a true pioneer for women. It's Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Tonight, Justice Barrett becomes not only the fifth woman to serve on our nation's highest court, but the very first mother of school-aged children to become a Supreme Court justice. Very important. Over the past few weeks, the entire world has seen Justice Barrett's deep knowledge, tremendous poise, and towering intellect. She answered questions for hours on end. Throughout her entire confirmation, her impeccable credentials were unquestioned, unchallenged, and obvious to all. Justice Barrett earned a full academic scholarship to Notre Dame Law School, graduated first in her class, and served as a clerk for Justice Antonin Scalia. She was a beloved professor at Notre Dame Law School for 15 years before I very proudly appointed her to the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit in 2017. The American people have been profoundly impressed to learn of her achievements, her compassion, her generosity, her faith, and her sterling character. Justice Barrett made clear she will issue rulings based solely upon a faithful reading of the law and the Constitution as written, not legislate from the bench. The equal, impartial, and constitutional rule of law that we enjoy every day in America is one of the crowning achievements in the history of human civilization. It is the triumph of reason, experience, and the values which are eternal and everlasting. Our devotion to this inheritance is what has made America the most just, exceptional, and glorious nation ever to exist. I want every American child watching to understand that this is a very special and important ceremony. We are fulfilling the duty that passes to each new generation to sustain the national traditions and virtues that make possible everything we have achieved before that. We will do tomorrow because of our Constitution and our culture of freedom. You live in a land where anything is possible and where any dream can come true. No matter who you are, no matter your background, in America, everyone is entitled to equal protection under our laws, and your sacred rights can never, ever be taken away. The march of liberty that began with the American Revolution continues onward this evening. Tonight at the White House, we carry forward the cause of freedom, equality, and justice for which so many generations of Americans have given so much. We honor the cause for which men died to win the Civil War and for which they jumped out of airplanes and shed their blood on distant battlefields. We honor the immortal principles inspired millions in the struggle for civil rights, and we take special pride in the nation that inspires billions of people all over the world. We must never take this radiant inheritance for granted. We must never lose confidence in our history, our heritage, or in our heroes. To reach for the stars, we must stand upon the strong and sturdy foundation built by those incredible Americans who came before. Justice Barrett, as you take your oath tonight, the legacy of our ancestors falls to you. The American people put their trust in you and their faith in you as you take up the task of defending our laws, our Constitution, and this country that we all love. We ask God to give you wisdom and courage. I know you will make us all very, very proud as long as we are loyal to our founding and to our fellow citizens. America's future will be bright, America's destiny will be great, and America's people will forever and always be free. I now ask Justice Thomas to administer the oath. Thank you very much.
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you all for being here tonight. And thank you, President Trump, for selecting me to serve as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. It's a privilege to be asked to serve my country in this office, and I stand here tonight truly honored and humbled. Thanks also to the Senate for giving its consent to my appointment. I am grateful for the confidence you have expressed in me, and I pledge to you and to the American people that I will discharge my duties to the very best of my ability. This was a rigorous confirmation process, and I thank all of you, especially Leader McConnell and Chairman Graham, for helping me to navigate it. My heartfelt thanks go to the members of the White House staff and Department of Justice who worked tirelessly to support me through this process. Your stamina is remarkable, and I have been the beneficiary of it. Jesse and I are also so grateful to the many people who have supported our family over these last several weeks. Through ways both tangible and intangible, you have made this day possible. Jesse and I have been truly awestruck by your generosity. I have spent a good amount of time over the last month at the Senate, both in meetings with individual senators and in days of hearings before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The confirmation process has made ever clearer to me one of the fundamental differences between the federal judiciary and the United States Senate. And perhaps the most acute is the role of policy preferences. It is the job of a senator to pursue her policy preferences. In fact, it would be a dereliction of duty for her to put policy goals aside. By contrast, it is the job of a judge to resist her policy preferences. It would be a dereliction of duty for her to give in to them. Federal judges don't stand for election. Thus, they have no basis for claiming that their preferences reflect those of the people. This separation of duty from political preference is what makes the judiciary distinct among the three branches of government. A judge declares independence not only from Congress and the president, but also from the private beliefs that might otherwise move her. The judicial oath captures the essence of the judicial duty. The rule of law must always control. My fellow Americans, even though we judges don't face elections, we still work for you. It is your Constitution that establishes the rule of law and the judicial independence that is so central to it. The oath that I have solemnly taken tonight means at its core that I will do my job without any fear or favor, and that I will do so independently of both the political branches and of my own preferences. I love the Constitution and the democratic republic that it establishes, and I will devote myself to preserving it. Thank you.
You're watching News Now from Fox. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a ceremonial moment as Amy Coney Barrett gets sworn into the Supreme Court of the United States. We are taking a live look from the White House. There she is walking with President Trump past all of the American flags. One last remark, one last smile and wave to everyone down on the lawn right there as we watch this historical moment as she replaces the spot of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You could hear Amy speaking. She pointed out a couple things, probably something that we kind of inferred would happen, that she would serve the American people with no fear or favor, that she would set her party preferences aside, her policy preferences aside, and serve America when it needs it most. I'm sure this won't be the last time we hear about this confirmation. Democrats on the other side not happy about the situation, while Republicans are all smiles tonight to be nominating and confirming Amy Coney Barrett into the Supreme Court officially. Looking forward into the future, we heard from former Vice President Joe Biden earlier today. He indicated that he might be open to shifting Supreme Court justices to lower courts if he is eventually elected president and beats out President Trump in this upcoming election. He noted that he hadn't made any judgment yet on the issue, though. This is obviously a transforming situation. A lot of unknowns as of right now. But again, live coverage here on News Now from Fox of Amy Coney Barrett officially becoming a part